Hey, it's E.B. Moss, and this is a bonus episode of Insider Interviews where you get the insider scoop on the business of media, marketing, and advertising. The scoop today was very spontaneous. I was at Podcast Movement, the big industry conference for all things podcasting, audio, and video now, and I pulled into the booth Peter Ferioli. He is the head of Pantheon Podcasts, and they are really finger on the pulse. He is producing an interactive podcast. It's very cool. They're working with Spooler Media, and he's going to tell you all about it. I don't want to give too much away, but pick your own ending. It's really terrific. Speaking of pick your own ending, I want you to pick up some More Labs Morning Recovery. Now, you might recall also that I interviewed their head of marketing a few episodes back because I was really intrigued by this product and I wanted to know how she got More Labs products to market. And now I have a sponsored offer of 25% off everything at morelabs.com. But first, let's get more from Peter. We are at Podcast Movement 2025. It's a big deal. We're in Dallas, and I'm here with Peter Ferioli. Woo!
And it is true. Everything is bigger in Dallas, by the way. This place is massive.
He's even bigger than me. And I met Peter exactly a year ago at Podcast Movement 2024, right?
We actually met at Illusions in Vegas, I believe, the first time. Ooh. We went out to Vegas. We went to dinner with Gary that evening.
You're right.
So
Gary
it's been
Krantz.
a couple of years.
Yeah, and we love Gary Krantz. He was our connector, and we miss him dearly. But I took advantage of bumping into you again, whether it was a year and a half, because we've stayed in touch.
Yes.
You're doing really cool things, and I figured it was a good opportunity to kind of do man on the street interview and find out a little bit more about Peter. And then you've got some finger on the pulse things going on. So who are you, what are you, and why are you? Let's start there.
Well, depends on when. I mean, different things, depending on where. So we got into podcasting about 10 years ago at Pantheon Media. When we first started, right after Serial came out, we decided to make something no one had really done and spent a lot of time, about a year, creating 4 episodes that were really detailed about the rich history of how music in America has a cultural feedback loop where society is informing music about issues, and then music is informing us back about politics and religion and personal issues. So we created our first show called Rock and Roll Archaeology.
I love that name.
And when it came out, after a year of working on it, we all had full-time jobs. And, the next day we had 10 listeners. We didn't make $1 million and get 1 million listeners. So, it was all, but we took what radio had known, and we started looking at that data and understanding frequency and consistency. Our listeners were going, when's the next episode? So we had to figure out a solution to come out with easier podcasts.
Almost.
Correct.
Yeah, you were driving TuneIn, but to podcasting, you were an early driver.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
And then we looked at each other and we had to explain to people what a podcast was. We had to build a website. What's an RSS feed? How do you follow it? And within that, we started going, okay, well, we're 2 older white guys and we're talking about rock and roll. And we needed to bring in other voices because we looked at who was trending in podcasting was younger people listening. And we went out and we started talking to other women who had rock podcasts, and we started incorporating more voices into what we were doing. And we built 6 original shows and we put them all into one feed because they were all music fans. And no one was putting all their shows in one feed at the same time. They were all, it was very... Feeds back then were sacred. So if you had a Game of Thrones podcast and you put a Seinfeld story next week, people would get really upset because they didn't follow you for that, right?
Yeah.
But we found that the music listener who read Rolling Stone or watched MTV would go across genres. They loved all kinds of music. So we started building out a music discovery platform in podcasting, where it was hip hop, folk, rock, looking at the best in class and other voices, young, where we could fill that out. And that's what we built out. So Pantheon today Media has 150 shows focused on music, sports, and culture. But the biggest music podcast network in the world with some big top tier bands like Metallica and the Struts and other clients. And it's an interesting space because before Spotify got into it, Apple owned the space, and Spotify is where everyone listens to music.
Right.
So for us, getting into Spotify, when they got into podcasting, all of a sudden everyone's searching on artists, albums, names, songs, and our Spotify traffic has just been fantastic since then. So it really changed for us, the industry, when the music DSPs and the iHearts and Amazon Music started getting into podcasting. It really shifted the awareness. Because most people want to hear a song when they go look for an artist. They don't want to hear a podcast.
Well, speaking of hearing, we're all sort of tired of the debate about audio, video, etc. And it's just content these days that happens to be hopefully delivered partly through an RSS feed and available as video. So the question to you is, you've been audio first and really leveraged Spotify because of that music connection.
Yes.
Do you also offer video for your shows?
So for our individual podcasters, some do and some don't, right? Okay. So I would say that, a lot of our podcasters have faces for radio. And in the nicest way possible, a lot of them were ex-DJs or producers or people behind the board. They weren't always the front artist. And so I would say some of them are in video now, and we are pushing, more of them to get into video and how to understand where to use, but more for marketing is what we use our video for today.
Well, are you leveraging Spotify video, or do you then do a YouTube playlist, or both?
So right now it's mostly YouTube and a little Spotify. We just started in Spotify because what Spotify has done is it's a streaming aspect of it. It's not an IAB certified. It's kind of a different product within their ecosystem.
Interesting.
So we're figuring out ways to leverage that. They have a 15 to 90 second promo clip you can associate with your audio file.
Okay.
And you get editorial curation if you do that. So we're pushing our podcasters to do more of that, to do more of the promotion. Doing a 1 hour interview on music and putting that up as a video is pretty dry. Unless you have a TV set and it's set for video, a lot of it is, we care about the audio producers. They want to hear high quality audio. So that's the one thing we really have hung our hats on, is we know we deal with musicians and producers and people in the industry, and they care about the quality of their audio.
So you can tell that Peter is finger on the pulse. He has innovated, and he told me when I bumped into him yesterday, and I said, come on the podcast, come meet me at the TPA booth, because that's the Podcast Academy, which is about education and awareness. So while we're here, and I hope you'll all join the Podcast Academy, what better person to help educate about what's coming down the pike than Peter Ferioli? So you are doing something really cool. Tell us.
So I did come out of the technology space for 20 years prior to becoming a podcaster.
This explains it.
I did.
Oh my God.
Was a product
Music,
manager in tech for a while. I'm somebody who's trying to push the boundaries a little forward in our medium.
You're
always trying to do that. And one of the things that really excites me now is I'm here working with a team called Spooler FM. It's the former head of Apple Podcasts, James Boggs, as well as the gentleman who created Panoply and Megaphone and Slate.com.
Wow.
Andy Bowers have created a platform called Spooler. It's an interactive podcasting platform. It's actually a way where you can talk to your podcast. So
stop it.
So imagine, imagine we see Alexa now, and people want to say, oh, well, you can talk to an Alexa. Alexa is a utility, right? You can give it one-word commands, and it executes those things. And today, what we are capable of today is now an Alexa or a device can understand all the different words you say without
voice
programming
recognition.
it. Correct.
Okay.
So we have a platform where if you have a podcast, you can either engage with it in a trivia-like way, interactive story. So think about node branching and choose your own adventure. So you decide what to do. Yeah, you tell the podcast at the end of this chapter, I would like to go left, go right. I go inward or outward, whatever it is. The podcast will take you there. So we can take real-time location data, real-time where you are, and give you a direct narrative story built around where you are, when it's happening, and you can choose your own adventure. There's never two type of podcasts sessions will end the same, essentially, right? So we're building those out for brands. We're building those out for podcasters. And so let me step back a bit. Video for 100 years has transformed, always transforms.
Right.
Audio has stayed the same. You have audiobooks, podcasts, music, and radio. They're all passive forms of audio. you don't really engage with them with yourself, right? You
Except
hear them.
for your Amazon device or something like that. That's it.
Right, exactly. But even then, with the Alexa, even though that's just a utility, right?
Yeah.
It's not a conversation. It's not a way to drive a narrative through it, right? It's
Okay.
just basically tell me what the weather is, or it gives you one-line
Yeah.
utility. So in this world that we're trying to build out these interactive podcasts, let me give you a great example. You can, instead of asking Alexa for the weather, right?
Yeah.
You can take the weather.
Yeah.
You can create a narrative story about the weather, where it's raining in your time, and bring in real location data and create a personal narrative around it for you. It's hard to wrap your head around that until you play it. So what I want everyone to do who sees this is try this game called Links. Links. It's the audio crossword puzzle for your ears, and it will demonstrate the power of this platform that's still in development, and it's being open to creators after this session here today. The team is starting to open up for people to come in and use it.
And this is in the App Store, and it's...
So you can just type in Links by Spooler in the App Store. It'll
by
come up.
Spooler.
It'll come up.
Okay.
And one of the things we've done is actually an app we built called Hit Replay. We partnered with the city of San Francisco and San Francisco Travel Group to create a weekly, decade by decade history of the Grateful Dead in San Francisco. So it was a narrative where people played the podcast puzzle and they learned about San Francisco. We've actually coined the phrase podcast puzzle.
Okay.
So it's when you're playing the game, you're hearing what you would hear in a podcast, and then you're answering questions. And at the end of those questions, you find out, what do all these things have in common?
Okay, I had to interrupt because, as promised, I have to talk to you about more labs, but it's actually a pleasure to talk to you about it, because when you're at a convention like Peter and I were, or not even at a convention, but you were out maybe with clients, maybe with friends, you had a little bit too much to drink, but you have to wake up feeling good, clear-headed, you got to be ready to go. I'm telling you, I tried morning recovery. You might have heard from the head of marketing, who I interviewed in an episode about how she brought this product to market, because they've already sold 20 million bottles of this. It's so different from like some other energy drink. It doesn't just like make you go ding, 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 ding. It's got vitamins, it's got ginseng, it's got prickly pear and milk thistle, and it was literally proven to help users feel like 80% better across those icky symptoms like brain fog and headaches. Yeah, we all know those. You can get it for 25% off. But wait, Johnny, there's more. There's also the things that help you focus more. Because sometimes when my guests are talking about data this and streaming that and privacy this and that, I have to be really sharp. So they have something called Liquid Focus, so my mind doesn't wander. Wait, what was I saying? Yeah, that's 25% off too. Or when you really need a good night's sleep, Dream Well. It's great. So More Labs has all three of them. Anything you get in the cart, whether you just try the morning recovery or you get 3-pack of them or get a case of them and take them on vacation, they're all 25% off with the promo code INSIDER at morelabs.com. It's morelabs.com, promo code INSIDER. You heard it here first. Let's get more from Peter. So if I understand this, what you're building with Spooler and podcasting and brain games, we're taking advantage of voice recognition, kind of matched with maybe geofencing, kind of matched with almost LLMs, large language models, who are predicting and anticipating in order to give you content back. And you're kind of stitching the three together, is that?
Yeah, so if we have a data set, here's a great use case. We took all the writings of Benjamin Franklin, put them all up. All the writings of Benjamin Franklin were put into a database. We uploaded them all to Spooler. And now you can have a conversation in Spooler with Benjamin Franklin.
No.
Yes. And so that you can give keyword triggers, you can talk back and forth.
Electrifying.
Yes.
See how I did that?
That was a good one.
Thank you very much.
And we have the other things like Marcus Aurelius, some other historical figures that you can do. And so, yeah, exactly. The natural language, what you can do today in AI, we couldn't even do 6 months ago.
Correct.
So it's very hard when we're talking about these platforms and we're pushing these forward. It's even hard for me to keep up.
Yeah. So I think this is amazing. As I said, we're at Podcast Movement. We're seeing all the new stuff coming out. So when will yours come out?
Well, you can go to podcastpuzzle.com and you can check out one of the first interactive games we built around a podcast around the Grateful Dead 60 in San Francisco.
Cool. That's amazing. I love it. Peter, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Evie.
Really
it's
cool
an honor
stuff.
and a pleasure. Love the podcast. Listen to the podcast.
Thank you. So to wrap it up, just a little reminder that a good podcast doesn't have to be hard, but it ain't easy. I can help you launch yours, market yours, or host yours. And if you want to support this fabulous free content, you can find me at buymeacoffee.com/mossappeal, anywhere on social media, and reach out at mossappeal.com. And a big shout out to John Clayton for the theme music. But truly, thank you for listening, learning, and sharing Insider Interviews with me, E.B. Moss.